Hey everybody, welcome to the Rhett Sever podcast, where everybody has Sever fever and says it's on at last. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome to the Rhett Sever podcast. My guest today is the amazing comedian I met at doing open mics here in New York City. Pretty much like most of my guests. I'm realizing it's the same story. Steve Girard, he's amazing filmmaker. He is on his promo tour promoting his new film Floaters.com, which is actually amazing that's what you recently made, because that is almost like a futuristic sci-fi. I mean, I don't even know if that's what you meant, but I was, even now that I think about it, was thinking of it as a futuristic story. Was it? Just out of curiosity?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you got that.
It.
All right, cool.
Can I do an intro?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, it's the Rhett Sever podcast. My name is Steve Girard at last. So hold on to your seats and get ready to listen. And we're gonna let all the words glisten off your ears.
Ears. Nice.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Thank you.
You're very, very inspiring. I like that you do a live song.
Thanks. I've done that a lot. I don't know. I'm not a musician, but I love music, so all I can do is a cappella.
I love,
like the one song that I have is a cappella. So, we're going to...
Sorry, is that the one that you did the music video to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ode to the Whole.
Ode to the Whole, right.
Just promo. Yeah.
Okay,
so...
Is that a sci-fi, a future...
Maybe, because I don't think people appreciate their asshole, and in the future I think they will.
I think it would be a calmer society if people, especially men.
Well, I guess the shame around anything sexual in general, or body parts in general, in the future people will have less shame.
Hopefully,
I think.
Yeah. If there is a future, people will have less shame. Yeah,
because I'm. Dude, I've written a lot of my recent jokes under the premise that I'm getting old, just because going to open mics, you see these younger kids who have less shame. And so I get up on stage and I'm like, well, did you guys notice I was laughing the hardest at his baby daddy joke? That's because my generation had more shame than yours. Oh. You newfangled dangled youngins. like what?
You say that?
Like, that's my premise, is that I'm getting old. But I think it's funny, like, yeah, we might be dying, but at least we get funnier. That's cool. That's a good trade-off.
Yeah. Is that true?
I mean, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, they laughed.
Right.
So, great.
Some people would say that laughing is, for a moment, dying.
Oh, interesting. Explain that.
Or sort of like when you laugh, you acknowledge that something is funny, and you break this like mechanical state where we're living, and then you, for a moment, are acknowledging death. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe when we're living and being serious, then we're sort of acknowledging that we're constantly dying, and then laughing is the opposite. It's a moment where we go, oh, no, it's the first one, because when you laugh, I think you're supposed to, it's like you're
acknowledging the trauma or the truth of trauma.
Yeah.
You're acknowledging an awkwardness about life. And so, we are,
It's been so long since I've laughed, I really don't have a point of reference.
No, that is true. I think it's a form of dying because we're acknowledging the awkwardness of truth, which I think what comedy is. Yeah. The nervousness of like, oh, if I don't laugh at this, then it's just going to kill me, so we might as well laugh.
Yeah.
I think.
I thought your name was Sever. It's Sever?
Sever, yeah.
Sever.
Yeah. Yeah, people always...
But it's spelled sever like you sever a limb, right?
I guess,
Sever.
Yeah, but I always liken it to Sever from Growing Pains in the 80s.
I never saw Growing Pains.
Yeah, their last name was Sever. But,
speaking of death, Growing Pains.
Yes. But also, okay, so that was the intro. So basically, this podcast is about the film Crash. So, because I do a lot of film analysis on my podcast, I think it is a good catalyst for comedy. I don't know, whatever. I don't. That's not true. I'm just a dork who likes overanalyzing everything, because to me, I think I had such a traumatic childhood, being in the closet gay, growing up Mormon, that I had to think myself out of it. And so for me, overthinking and analyzing everything, which my family would gaslight me and thinking, my mom's like, oh, don't overthink everything. It's like, how about not underthinking everything like you guys anyway?
What if your mom listens to this?
That's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Well, no, she knows how... We have a very evolved relationship, so that's why I don't... Well, no, I mean, I want my mom to be better. I wish she would overthink things like me.
Yeah. So
it's not that I dislike my mom. Yeah. I love my mom, and I want her to overthink things and be better also.
Okay.
So it's out of love. Don't worry.
I'm not worried.
And so we're analyzing the film Crash. Not the Best Picture winner, which everybody thinks. It's the 1996 film directed by David Cronenberg in the Criterion Collection. I think people don't know, it's the classic thing of it's ahead of its time. Like, like people were pissed off about the Beethoven's Ninth or whatever. They threw chairs and were mad. This is like the modern day version of that. People don't get it. It's controversial. Oh, like they don't understand it. So like all great artwork that's ahead of its time, it's not understood in its time. That's what makes it ahead of its time. Huh. It's not appreciated in its time, right?
But people love this movie. Everybody saw this shit.
Well, based on the talk we just watched on it, yeah. It was under the context of it's a sexual scandal. How dare they portray sex like this? Like they had it's 3 sex scenes in a row at the beginning, yeah. And people think that's a porno.
Four when you and I watched it.
And the thing is it's because people are sexually oppressed. We're coming out of the dark ages of religion sexually oppressing us. And that's what people can't get over. Because the thing is let's say David Cronenberg was evil and wanted to scandalize everybody with his sex film. Who cares? If we're able to process something, nothing can hurt us if we are given the tools to process it. So let's say somebody is being offensive. Who cares? As long as you teach your kids to have the correct processing tools, then nothing is offensive. Nothing offends me, because to me, when somebody is quote-unquote offensive, I just feel sorry that they're stupid, that they're a stupid racist or sexist or whatever.
You know what offends me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or no. What?
Oh, you don't? You do or you don't?
No, I meant yes as in tell me. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Oh, well, now I forget.
Oh.
But no, I agree with parts of what you're saying, but you feel like we're coming out of the dark ages?
Well, clearly they couldn't process this movie. Which, does seem like a sexual thriller.
Bullies offend me. All forms.
Well, right, because that's actual violence. Yeah. Or could be violence.
Or even the kind with words. That is also
because
offensive to me.
Right, because they're trying to be personal.
They're being mean.
What's funny about that is that
nothing.
I wish I processed this when I was younger. That I was just the faggot that happened to be in the bully's way that day. It had nothing to do with me being gay. It had everything to do with that bully. So I always go back to this cliche of like, maybe his parents got divorced, right, and he's angry at life because his parents is divorced. So he's going to go to school and bully somebody because it makes him feel better about his shitty life.
Right.
And so that's every time somebody is trying to be mean to somebody or put them down, it has everything to do with that person and not the target. The target just happens to be this poor person who's in that person's way that day.
That's an interesting way of looking at things. I'm going to pour some tea. Do you want some?
No, I have some.
Can we keep talking while I go do that?
Yeah.
I don't mean to be so unprofessional. But
No, it's cool. I think it will pick up your sound. So
Okay.
It's-
Your iPhone?
we are in the future. It is good technology. No.
Yes, it is. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay, so I will then continue with my analysis of the movie. Then when you come back, you can talk about yours. Yeah.
I'm just over here.
So what's interesting about this movie is, you know, I always, like, I guess, you know, maybe I have to cop to, sometimes I'm dumb as well, or a pseudo-intellectual. I just trusted this movie knowing that it was made by a filmmaker who made other thought-provoking movies, and it was released by the Criterion Collection. So, like, I don't, you know, I actually thought this was just, you know, some kind of sellout Hollywood thriller when it first came out too. I didn't know how to process things. When it came out when I was 12, it was on like cable or something. I probably was watching it for the titillating sex. I had no idea what this was really about. But then Cronenberg and the writer discussed the meaning in an amazing talk that blew my mind, especially because I was coming off of doing a lot of edibles, and so I was overanalyzing everything. And I freaking blow my mind past this fucking talk. Because when Cronenberg said future psychology, it gave me this epiphany of most science fiction is about the technology or just an extrapolation of how we
Talk, think, feel,
well, our
communicate.
social interactions today. See, because so the thing is science fiction is all about predicting the future. Right. Well, the thing is you can't really predict the future. All you can do is extrapolate something that's happening in the present. This is what science fiction is. It's not, you know, you can't predict the future. What it is we are taking something that's bad or good that's happening in the present, and we're extrapolating it and exaggerating it in the future and saying, you know, if we continue on this road, this is what's going to happen. So it's either a cautionary tale, right? Their famous thing that they were discussing in the talk. You know, critics always use cautionary tale because the writer said, well, if it wasn't, then it's just a psychotic statement. Right. Like it has to be, we have to root it in some kind of moral, otherwise we are crazy, you know?
Right.
And so,
by that rationale, if you go out in the street and punch someone in the nose, you say, this is a cautionary tale. Because if this keeps going on, you look what happened.
Well, there's a difference between punching somebody in the nose in a book and then actually doing it.
That's true. That's actually, that's wow.
Yeah. So
I've never thought
that's
of that
that's what art is. It's like what we were talking about with horror films. It's just a way for us to deal with the violence of the past. That's how because I don't really like horror films. I must be an amazing evolved person. But I think people who love horror films are people dealing with the violence, trauma in their DNA's past, and instead of being a barbarian actually doing violence like we used to do it more as individuals, it was more socially acceptable to be violent, like, you know, just hitting your kid, for example. Like now they don't like that.
Yeah,
and
you
so
can hit other people's kids.
yeah. And so I think a horror film or any violence in art is a way for us to vicariously deal with that trauma, and instead of being violent ourselves, we're like, oh my god, look, we watch torture porn horror films. Like,
no,
I can't watch those.
Yeah.
They're freaking, it's like, who the fuck wants to see, this is horrible. Those fucking Saw movies, I can't watch them. I feel disgusting.
You didn't see Saw?
I don't say it's quote unquote offensive. No, I saw parts of it, but I can't watch the whole thing. I don't get it. I don't get why people, like, quote unquote get off on it.
It's a clown. The guy's a little clown.
Well, I mean, I get it, but the thing is, I guess the social tool that horror films play in our society, I don't need it. And I've realized that there's not a lot of classic horror, in terms of classics among a lot of genres, there's not a lot of classic horror films, because I think in general, filmmakers who are attracted, and again, this is a generalization, not always true, in general, the types of filmmakers that are attracted to making horror films are just kind of dumb people. Because all they want to do is, oh, look at this scary thing, isn't it scary? Like, yeah, okay. And it's funny because irony of that is that The Exorcist is a classic horror film, but when I watched the director's comment, have you listened to the director's commentary on The Exorcist?
Yeah.
Do you agree that it was
scarier
stupid?
than the movie?
No.
And for different reasons.
Right.
What?
Right, you are correct. It is scary.
Wait, I can't hear
because
you.
William Friedkin, that's correct.
Freaking
Friedkin is just describing things that are already on the screen, and it's like he's like at one point he's like the cross on the wall. It represents the Catholicism. Like,
true.
You think?
Oh.
It was so obvious what he was saying on the commentary. It was like he gave no insight into the behind the scenes, the meaning of the underlying more meaningfulness of things, like the amazing David Cronenberg can do in that talk. I mean, that got so in depth.
We're in my living room.
Yeah.
And I came here to talk Crash.
Yes,
So let's
it
talk
is
Crash.
true.
You have some notes written down.
Crash is an amazing film because, okay, so for me, the best thing about it is that it doesn't make it obvious that it's a science fiction movie, but you can kind of tell by the way it's shot, by its kind of like timelessness. They kind of shoot it with this timeless, even though you can tell it's obviously 90s LA. They try to make the production design very timeless because they want to kind of like not beat you over the head that it's science fiction, but just give this idea of what they're saying, future psychology, because that's why you thought that I wasn't talking about Crash. I explained all that stuff. I just got
Sorry.
I have a
You're getting
sorry.
sidetracked.
I know. This is what's hilarious.
Fight that, though.
I know, but
hilarious.
I have another podcast coming out called Tangent Horrors.
Hey, one thing at a time.
Because I go off on tangents.
And this is my last
I know,
one.
and so, yes, you're right.
Tangent Horrors?
Yeah, because we go off on tangents, and that's what it's about. We just freely go off on tangents. Sorry. Anyway, so I wasn't going off on tangents. I was putting in the context of Crash is about future psychology. It's a science fiction future psychology. Instead of being about technology or these other things that a lot of science fiction is about, it's about how are we going to change socially. Because to me, that's such a more interesting idea. How are we going to interact as humans differently in the future is so much more interesting to me than are we going to shoot each other with ray guns? Like the more profound thing is we might not even have guns. Might be outlawed in the future,
or people will be no more. So
a ray gun is actually just like I was saying before, an extrapolation of something that's current. But the future thing is, it's instead of a bullet, it's a ray. Oh my god! Well, the more interesting thing to me is I want to see a science fiction movie where guns are outlawed. Let's fucking see that movie.
Whoa.
That's more interesting.
Whoa.
Where guns are completely outlawed, or even fucking knives, and you have to fucking cut things in your kitchen. Blades have to be connected to a fucking cutting board or something. I don't know.
Okay.
That's just a fucking thing.
It is right now.
Well, that's the you can't have like a separate knife that that you can travel with.
I see. It's
heaven
got to
forbid
be
go kill somebody.
It's got to be
connected to your kitchen.
To your cutting board,
so
right?
it can't be taken.
Maybe like a big deli slicer.
It can't be taken into the next room to kill your wife or husband.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe everyone has a deli slicer that you can only fit certain meats through, and then if you're trying to push your wife's hand through there, it'll know like this is the wife's hand,
right?
And I won't do that, and the machine will shut down. And I'll have a safeguard.
Right.
But the problem is that doesn't sound like an exciting.
See, those are more interesting science fiction ideas, though.
To who?
To me, maybe I'm a dork, but I mean,
to you, yeah.
I mean, do you know what's crazy? A lot of people in this world do not know what the fucking Criterion Collection is. That is a fucking travesty.
Well, a lot of people don't speak English.
So when we're talking about, people being smart and,
Criterion is. Can I tell you what I think about the Criterion Collection? Mm-hmm. I think it's sort of a scam that sweeps up all these low budget, beautiful gem movies,
right?
Puts them behind a paywall or repackages them, tacks on includes the trailers and maybe a Q&A on the DVD, and sells it for $35. So what it does is it robs.
You can get them half off for $20, but anyway.
But you know what I mean?
I know
you can't find a Criterion movie on cheap because maybe you can now on YouTube and shit, but they
at thrift stores
they snatch the fucking movies. So poor people, not like you.
It's if you think about it, it's because it's almost like you're supporting a nonprofit.
What?
Because they don't make a lot of money, so that's why they have to be such a high price.
No, they're making money.
Well, yeah, of course they're making money, but the thing is, they're probably not making as much money as they should because, again, not a lot of the general public is not very smart and appreciating these movies. I have to explain to a lot of people what the fucking Criterion Collection is.
Yeah, but those people.
That's sad.
Those people don't speak English, and
no, that's not true. All of the people I'm talking about speak English.
Oh.
They're just dumb and they don't fucking go to the Criterion Collection.
But being dumb doesn't have anything to do with watching fucking smart,
I know. I'm just
movies.
See, that's
also,
part of me being dumb.
Oh.
That's what I relate to being smart is knowing the Criterion Collection.
I'll let you two work this
But
out.
anyway, so see, I told you analyzing film is a good conduit for comedy. Anyway. Okay, so let me just finish analyzing Crash and then I'll let you.
And then we can do it.
Okay. So, right, Crash is future psychology. It's how we're going to relate to each other as humans differently in the future. The example in Crash is that which to me is another mind-blowing idea because a lot of science fiction is about what we do in the present. It's about anesthetizing pain. We're always avoiding pain. We're afraid of the aliens. They're going to attack us. We're
afraid of the slugs.
We need to create superhumans with eugenics. We need to create a drug so we have less pain.
RoboCop.
It's a lot of when you talk about science fiction, it's all an extrapolation of what we're doing in the present. We're trying to avoid pain.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? When you avoid pain, you don't grow.
What?
And when you embrace pain, because what is pain? Negativity.
Pleasure leaving... pleasure actually inside... Wait, what is it you say?
I don't know. I've never heard this.
Oh, you were going to do one, though. Oh, I'm thinking of fear. Fear is frequently love. Light...
well, that's interesting. Okay. Though they can look those up if you can't remember it. But that's interesting acronyms. Though.
I can't.
But anyway, the point is that shit. What was my point? Because see, this is why I have to edit it because it's so easy to when you get high off edibles.
Are you high?
And you get no, I'm not. Oh. But I came up with these ideas high on edibles.
What ideas?
All these ideas I'm trying to talk about right now.
Oh, sorry.
And when you get high on edibles, it's so easy to lose your train of thought. They're
the
prosciutto of ideas. It's so easy to. Anyway,
what do you mean? You mean
they're thin? Yeah, they're so thin. It can go up in air.
What about a little bit of interplay between you and I? Let's let all those ideas go.
Okay.
We just watched a long, arduous interview with David Cronenberg.
Yeah.
And a British guy.
Yeah, the writer of the book. Yeah.
Oh, he was the writer of the book.
Ballard. Yeah, you didn't. You read the book.
I read the book.
You said you did?
I did say I did.
You didn't.
I said I did. And
well, it's another question of if you actually did or not.
Well, it's a crime of the future.
Oh, that's hilarious. Okay.
Well, listen, I thought that they said some interesting stuff.
Yeah.
But not in the interview. In the movie.
Really?
Yeah. I thought the movie was very interesting because
good.
Can I tell you my history with Crash?
Yes.
I watched it when I was 8. It was on TV and it really scared me. And I don't have any visual...
That's amazing.
I don't have any memories of the movie except for that part where...
I have the same history.
You do?
Yeah, I saw it when I was a little kid. Had no fucking intellect. I just think it's sexual. Oh my god.
I had a lot of intellect.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So tell me.
I was rated smartest kid in my household between the ages of 8 and 8.5.
Nice.
And when I did see Crash on TV, I immediately knew that it was a movie. And Rosanna Arquette's scar on the back of her thigh was I remember that so vividly because that's a moment in the movie where you see that how unrealistic that scar is. Yeah. And of course he fucks
it's an artifice, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a joke. It's like an absurd thing to include. So I remember seeing this movie and thinking, is it sexual? And Is it? Does it burn somebody and smell the gasoline? Maybe I'm thinking of another.
Right. They chase car crashes, so when they happen, they try to get there before the ambulance to fetishize it and enjoy it.
Don't they
before
burn somebody alive and smell them?
Well, no. The crash burned somebody alive, and they're there to fetishize it and enjoy it.
Oh, okay.
Because they're, because to me, again, it's about this future psychology of embracing pain. That's what I was getting. See, we don't have to worry about losing tangents because I'll get back to it just by the thought process of the whole
No, that's
analysis.
a tangent that I don't.
To me, that's what it's about, is we anesthetize and avoid pain now, but in the future, when we evolve... See, that's what's so amazing about these ideas. They're so fucking revolutionary that we can't get our little 2022 heads around them.
But when I was 8, I was really
Okay, then
smart.
tell me.
Well, I was going to say we had Showtime and HBO, and I forget if it was on... Showtime or HBO, but it was one of the two because it wasn't censored.
Yeah, right.
But you seem to be focused on maybe the idea that this is an allegory for the future, and that this pain fetishizing is actually a beneficial thing for humans. Now, do you feel like that was something that they said on purpose? The film was about, or is that? Do you think the way that you're taking it?
Well, I mean. It has to be, because I only got that idea based on what David Cronenberg said in that interview when he said future psychology. Now, I might be making up what that future psychology is for me.
Oh, okay.
Because he didn't maybe explain exactly what the future psychology was. That he just said there is one, right? Yeah. That's the science fiction element of it. It's not... See, again, it's not a visual science fiction. It's a psychology science fiction.
Okay.
So, meaning that in the future... So to me, what that means is, if we evolve as humans, we'll realize it. Because to me, when I was on edibles, I had the epiphany that first of all, everything is by design. When you look at the table of elements, and this is what gives me proof. Not being religious, which is ironically also they believe in design. And so a lot of people, when they're
you're losing me.
Just wait 1 second.
Okay. But I'm speaking for the audience.
But don't worry though. All these tangents will wrap up at the end. So don't worry. Just go with me. Because I know it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
But the thing is it's worth it, fucker.
Rhett,
it's fucking worth it.
Rhett called me fucker.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Well, no, because it's worth it. He thinks I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm not.
It looks like we're just talking sitting oddly close to each other, but we're actually recording a podcast straight onto look at the future. It's right onto the iPhone.
That is, why not, honestly?
Well, I've never had complaints that it's bad quality. So, yeah.
But have you ever had compliments that is bad quality?
Honestly, if I start a podcast, and I might, it's going to be on my phone.
Yeah.
I feel like,
I'm not buying.
DIY.
I'm not going to buy like all this equipment just for like 2% better quality. Like
I hear you. I agree.
Whatever.
Actually, you know what? To me, it sounds good.
Well, I've listened to my podcast, and if it was bad quality, I wouldn't be doing this.
I know that about you. I don't mean to.
No, because it's funny because it seems lazy, but actually, I wouldn't be being lazy if it.
I think it's important to do things in the easiest way, because if you do things in the hardest way, it actually fries the fun out of it. And it makes your life laborious. And you know what?
That brings us back to the book and movie. That's why people don't read books and they watch movies. It's easier.
What?
It's easier to watch a movie than read a book.
Oh, like they were talking unless it's a foreign movie.
Yeah, because you were lying about reading the book. You didn't read it.
I did.
You did. Now tell the truth. Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, then talk about that.
Well,
don't make it for nothing.
But Rhett, you've turned red during this. You were yelling. You called me a fucker.
I know. It's because it's
frustrating.
Right now, I know. Sorry. It's because it's frustrating because my ideas about this are so revolutionary that it's lost in.
That's a crazy statement.
I know.
No, that's a crazy statement.
I know.
No. That is a crazy statement. I don't want you to edit this out.
Exactly.
In fact, you can edit it out, but Rhett,
I won't.
I want you to listen to this later.
Of course.
Your ideas about this are so revolutionary. What are your ideas about it that are so revolutionary that it makes you angry? That people don't understand?
Well, because I can't get through explaining it without you thinking I'm on a tangent. I'm not on a tangent. I need to contextualize.
You're on a tangent. You and I both.
I need to contextualize my analysis.
I'll let you go.
If I just said my my if I just said what you could say is the punchline of everything, feeling sorry for shoplifters is a capitalist rebellion. If I just said that, people are, what the fuck are you talking about?
Sure.
I have to explain it first. But that's, you could say that's my outline for about what I'm
Tell me about what I'm
getting
means,
to.
that one grabbed me. And you know what? That relates to the book. But I'm going to talk about that once you talk about why feeling sorry for shoplifters is a capitalist rebellion.
Well, because what the author I don't even think had that idea, but when he said it, I had this epiphany of like, holy shit, everything's connected. See, that's what people don't realize. Everything is fucking connected.
What?
We compartmentalize everything, and it's not compartmentalized. Everything's one thing. Now, so let me get back to what you thought was tangents, but isn't.
I don't think anything. I'm just listening.
A lot of people think either or. If I'm an atheist, then I don't believe in design. Well, I think that's bullshit. Religion. Well, no, I'm just saying. Religion has two things right for me. Religion, be nice to people, and things are by design. After that, fuck religion.
Okay.
But those two things I believe are correct.
Isn't atheism not believing in God?
Right.
You said not believing in
Well, no,
design.
but a lot of atheists, they believe in chaos. They don't believe in by design.
Oh,
is that
design.
Is that
Sorry.
true?
I'm so stupid.
I don't even know if that's true, though. Do you maybe know?
I can only speak for myself, and
okay.
I'm not an atheist.
Well, to me, it just seems like when I meet an atheist, they think we're just worm food and everything's chaos.
Yeah, they're always trying to fucking rape.
Yeah, but the thing is you can be an atheist in terms of, right, don't believe in an organized religious God, but that doesn't mean we're not by design.
No.
So to me, okay, so for example, I'll just give my main example. What proves that we're by design is the periodic table of elements. They're not just numbered 1 through 100 arbitrarily. Those numbers are their atomic number.
The number of electrons they have.
The number of bonded elemental molecules or atoms of that element. So, like for example, like oxygen is 1.
I think it means the number O2.
Hydrogen is 2.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about the pure elements on the table. So the atomic numbers mean so for oxygen is 1. I don't even know if this is correct. I'm just explaining it. They can look up the real information.
Who's they?
The listeners. Okay, so
I just
gotta do it quick because it's a lot. It's a lot.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
Okay, so sorry.
It's okay.
So hydrogen is 1, meaning when hydrogen is in its purest form, it one atom is hydrogen.
1 atom, 1 Eve. That's the way I look at it.
When hydrogen is in its, or no, I think that's hydrogen is 1. Oxygen in its purest form.
Yeah.
Two oxygen.
We should breathe some oxygen in its purest form. I'm sorry, Rhett. I just want to be a part of this exciting thing.
No, I know, and you can be.
I want to be a part of this exciting thing.
Of course you can be, but just let me get through
I'll
this.
let you talk. Okay.
I know it seems like a tangent, but I promise you it's not. People out there, not just Steven, but people out there. Okay. Yeah. Oxygen in its purest form. At 2 atoms are bonded, right? So, and then it goes along the periodic table like that. So to me, that's a fucking
2
design.
atoms are bonded. That sounds kind of hot.
In it, right? And then the third element, 3 atoms are bonded, and 4 go. Now again, I might be talking shit. I don't know if this is correct, but my point is the atomic numbers mean something, and they're labeled 1 through 100, whatever. So to me, that's a fucking design, motherfucker. To me, that is the universe winking at us. I designed you, bitch. This ain't chaos. Now, I think the universe, in its perfect design, created the idea of chaos in our head because it doesn't want to be aware of itself. Because to me, the universe, in its meaninglessness or its existential crisis, is saying, what is the meaning of everything? I'm bored knowing and being everything. I'm gonna live vicariously through a human who has limited time and information, doesn't know shit. They think they're supposed to correct not knowing shit and have religion explain and everything, but they don't fucking know the whole point of their fucking existence is that we're not supposed to know where we came from. We think that's an accidental byproduct of our existence, that we don't know what created us. I think it's the whole fucking purpose of our existence is that because it's a catalyst for evolution. We try to explain our existence by not knowing it, and that is what creates meaning. Now,
you should write a book, dude.
Exactly. But a lot of people that have been on edibles, like Alan Watts, I think, he kind of talks about a lot of these ideas. But anyway, have I read his book? No, I've just been on edibles myself and have listened to other comedians talk about him. But anyway, my point is that how it relates back to Crash is that the future psychology, us as humans, we think we're supposed to avoid pain, but when we finally fucking evolve, we know that this is where it connects back to what I just explained. The universe created negativity as its gym that it goes to work out in to become stronger. So we think we're supposed to avoid that negativity. No, if we embrace the negativity, I don't mean do bad things. I mean when things accidentally happen to us that are bad, we should embrace it. So the another classic example I give in my futuristic book I'm writing is a woman walks up to another woman in a supermarket. Again, I might be wrong. There might not be supermarkets in the future, but anyway, not the point. The point is
I agree with that.
Sorry. She walks up to this other woman and she's like, "Oh my God, congratulations on your first car accident. You're going to learn so much from this experience." So in the future, they're going to be happy about accidents because they know that is what you need to grow.
It's very Bob Rossian.
Oh. That's amazing. There's Painter on Channel 2?
The Painter on Channel 2.
Right. Right. With the pro.
You know what, Rhett?
That's cool.
Even though you're crazy,
yeah,
I'm your friend.
Cool. Anyway.
Should we start this thing over or what?
No, I think this is all good. It can be edited and everything.
I don't think you should edit it at all. I think it's pure gold. But that's very interesting, Rhett. And it's nuts. I'll tell you why it's nuts. Because this is all... What you're saying is... Are you blaming Crash for these thoughts?
No. Right. So Crash... Right. Edibles and Crash. That's what all brought this...
I'm worried about your edibles.
Exactly.
Happen.
I know. I can't do it a lot. It makes me crazy. My main thing when I do edibles is I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to die before I accomplish anything. And then it's such a horrible feeling that I can't do them. But that's who I am.
Maybe there's something underneath.
I think psychedelics make people more of who they are. So like people who just like to do weed and they can chillax, it's because that's who they are. They just want to chillax. I can't just chillax. What
does that mean, chillax? Is that like
just relax and chill.
Oh.
That's why a lot of people addicted or whatever
to chillax
to marijuana. Mm-hmm. Not that it's addictive, but to a certain personality, it can be
extremely addictive.
Well, to a certain personality.
Yeah.
Because the thing is alcohol is not addictive to me.
Thing. Right.
See, the thing is about addiction. Yeah. We're realizing we can't gaslight the inanimate object. Alcohol is not addictive. The personality is addictive to the alcohol. So the thing is we have to start taking responsibility for our addiction.
You just said something I understand.
Yes. And so how it relates back to Crash is that Crash, they are embracing the pain of the car crash and making it part of their sexual identity and saying, no, this car crash is good because it's making us learn from our existence and we're embracing it as part of our sexuality instead of trying to avoid this thing that we can't avoid. Car crashes happen, right? We think it's chaos, but if the perfect design of the universe made it so that car accidents can happen, well, then they're supposed to happen because if they can happen, right?
Yeah, that's the way I'm looking at this podcast.
And shut up. And so, that's hilarious. But anyway, but if you look at it as a positive, then this podcast isn't bad, it's good.
No, I agree. This is sort of a Buddhist thing I was talking to my friend because like his dad is dying and he had told me that he had a crick in his neck, the kid, my friend. And he goes, I learned from this shit that if you meditate into pain, you don't get so afraid of the pain and you go, you know what, I have a crick in my neck, but it's not that bad. And I notice it there. Yeah, you embrace it, or you just don't fear it. And then, but so maybe this kind of a thing that
and when you don't fear something, you
about.
Evolve.
What?
And when you don't fear something, you evolve.
No, that's not what he said. He was just
Well,
talking
to
about
me-
his dad is dying.
No, I
and-
know, but-
oh.
Well, no, I'm just going back to the idea that if we
But it's
learn to psychologically think of fear and pain differently, we can evolve as humans, and we can see it for how it makes us grow instead of avoiding it. Because if we avoid it, we don't grow.
I got a theory about all this shit.
Yeah. What?
We are evolved as humans. This is what it looks like, man.
Right. Well, that's another thing that I want to get to.
No.
Just wait.
Oh.
Over
Been
time,
waiting this whole time. Go ahead.
humans evolve, I think, socially. There's a lot of examples. For example, social evolution. Okay, religion to capitalism. We worshipped religion. Now we're getting past religion. We're almost worshiping capitalism, consumerism. Okay, and then I put sex to fear, but oh yeah, that's right. I'll
cut this
explain
part out,
this.
We're in a dead zone.
Well, no, and also like hangings. So hangings, we used to gather in groups to watch hangings like for entertainment and cheer them on. We don't do that anymore.
Now bats hang in groups to what were you saying?
Sorry, what'd you say?
I said what were you talking about?
We used to gather in groups around a public hanging.
Yeah.
And people would cheer this on.
Yes.
And love it.
Yeah.
And we don't do that anymore. And
No.
I think that's a slight example of a social evolution. Now, I have to try to convince people that we socially evolved because it's so slow. You have to point out different examples.
I have a literal, actual response to that. We talked about this earlier.
Okay, good.
I think that we haven't necessarily evolved, even though we don't go around and we don't gather around executions and coliseums where people are being killed.
Yeah.
Like you brought up, we have our thank you for pointing the phone at me because here comes a big point.
Good.
I think that because other people are doing the killing for us.
Yeah.
And we're sort of allowed to be liberal about it and be like, oh, I hate that, and I hate that they go bomb other countries, even though we get to inherit all the benefits of those actions. That's not evolution. That's de-evolution. I think we were more evolved perhaps when we would have to do our own dirty work because we know what it went into cutting a man's neck or a woman's or whoever's. That's
a really good point, but I think the slight evolution, that's why I say it's a slight evolution. The slight evolution is that the general individual is not as barbaric as they used to be. Now the barbarianism is concentrated on these sociopathic politicians who go to war for money.
But aren't we even more sociopathic
by electing them? That's true.
No, not electing them.
Oh,
by knowing that they're doing these dirty deeds.
Right.
By knowing that we are complacent and that we are enjoying the products of a system that's violent.
Right.
Aren't we even worse? I don't think it's slight evolution. I don't think it's evolution at all. I don't know if it's de-evolution, but I don't think it's cool that we're individually less violent, but we're like, bombing, raping countries, and then also wearing sweatshop clothes and iPhones and shit. I don't give a fuck about this shit, by the way.
There's a lot of nuances within these exexamples that can be argued, and those are really good points.
I don't think because I haven't killed a man or hit anybody, I'm morally better than a guy 2,000 years ago who would have bludgeoned his neighbor with a rock. I don't think I am.
Right,
I just haven't had the opportunity.
Right, you're just letting somebody else do the bludgeoning.
Yeah, and he would do the same that I would do.
But isn't that a slight evolution?
No, because the violence is still being done.
Right.
An evolution would be if I made
but you're going to be mad at that guy for bludgeoning, aren't you?
Well, I can say I am, and I can watch a documentary and be like, wow, I didn't even know about Syria or whatever.
Right.
But honestly, no. I mean, I'm hanging out in here, looking at scratching my ass.
Right. So, but you can't argue with the fact that we've abolished slavery. We treat women, gays, people of color better than we used to. These might be slight evolutions, but the old cliche, we've come a long way, but we still have a long ways to go. These are undebatable evolutions.
Those are, I guess.
In social. So that's really my general point.
Yeah.
Maybe the hangings,
the violent thing.
Right, maybe the violence and the hangings and the whatever is a bad example because it's even maybe a slower evolution. But there are undeniable social evolutions that have happened throughout time.
Yeah.
And so my point is that in the future, we can't deny that we are going to be totally different socially interacting in the future than we are now, I think. And so I think it's a really cool, healthy exercise for science fiction people to do more social comments instead of just these technology ones. So the example I thought of was this Kristen Stewart movie in 2015 called Equals. This is another future psychology movie where people are banned from falling in love. And so that's a whole like exercise in what would the future be if we no longer valued love. And it's a really interesting movie. And so like they fall in love and they're put in jail for falling in love. It's kind of hilarious and very interesting movie. It's but I appreciate it because it's not just about the dumb technology. The futuristic setting, all they did was just make everything blank. You know, there's not all this decoration in like buildings anymore. It's all just blank.
Yeah.
And that was actually good because it's an independent movie that was like a cheap production design
Saved them a dollar.
Yeah, like decision because it showed a type of future on a low budget so that they can focus on the psychology of it, not the dumb technology which usually is being explored.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Well, no, but I think it's the jumping off point of Crash and what made me like love this movie so much because I didn't know how to appreciate this movie until I dug into it.
Yeah.
And then it gave me all these fucking mind-blowing ideas.
Right.
About what you wanted me to get to. Finally, see? I'm finally getting what you want.
What do you think
But
I
had to explain all that context in order for people to appreciate what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Okay, so the idea that we're coming out from this sexually oppressed, religious, dark ages, right? As humans, we're getting over our oppressions on sex and all of our bullshit around sex, which is so dumb because it's natural. And I always go back to this example of like, if you oppress sex like screwing a top on a toothpaste bottle too tight, but the idea that sex is going to happen anyway, so the idea that squeezing the toothpaste, you have to squeeze a toothpaste bottle in order to get the toothpaste out.
You get to.
You have to you have to squeeze it still, but if it's not going to come out naturally at the top, it's going to come out somewhere. It's going to come out. It's going to come out in the forms of molestation, incest, all these sexual deviant things that are bad, like rape and everything. Oh. Right. Toothpaste was the analogy.
We have a different nighttime routine.
Yeah. Toothpaste was the analogy, yes. That it's going to shoot out in all these unnatural ways.
Do you use plackers? Do you know what those are?
No, but that is an actual tangent.
That is. Hey, guilty as charged.
Yes, okay.
Let's read the book.
You're right, okay. Yes, we're going to read a short excerpt of the script I wrote about the future psychology idea I had. But anyway, I just get to the last point. So religion used to use fear to promote itself. And capitalism used sex to promote itself. Now, since we're over religion, or we're getting over religion, half the world is still stuck there like assholes, but anyway, we're over religion, and we're getting over our traumas and bullshit about sex, because it's a natural thing that there's nothing wrong with as long as it's between two consenting adults. Just fucking relax, everybody. So now, what do you have left in the equations? Because it's like a math equation. If you're,
I know what you're
if you're
say.
right, if you're
sex with children. And
shut up, just 1 second. Right. Just wait, shut up. Oh. No, but that's a good.
But
that's a good comedy tangent. As long
I'm
as
not even but that is realistically like there. Do you know what pedophile allies are?
What?
Yeah, they're people.
They're like pedophile apologists.
Well, they're people who would argue that being attracted sexually to young children and frail, hairless human beings are. I mean, it's a natural thing. I mean, here's the thing.
Right, that might be true, but it doesn't make it correct to actually do it.
Now, but this is the same argument that blah 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 would have used against blah blah blah. You know, like this.
No,
is,
say
this
that.
Is,
I don't know what you're saying.
Well, this is what people would have said about gay people. This is what people would have said about.
Oh, that's a good
being
point.
Attracted to different races.
That's a good point.
Or different species.
And that goes to the point of that amazing thing that author said. Remember, he gave the example of, and this, because this goes back to my main point.
It's all about
just
your
one
points.
second. Just 1 second. The woman.
I'm tired of your points.
No, the amazing
I'm speaking
example.
for the people. We are tired.
I know,
your
but
points.
we're almost done.
Oh, good.
The amazing example he gave is, like, these psychotic things are being more and more normalized. Like the poor woman next door, she would be villainized for stealing and being shoplifting for her kids. But now it's like, oh, well, she's on hard times. She has to feed her children. It's okay if she shoplifts. You know what I mean? Like, he was talking about that idea of these quote-unquote psychotic ways are now being normalized as, well, it's only normal, right? And the example, right, of what everything you just said, you were giving these examples. Go on about that.
What?
About like the gay and the pedophiles and all that.
Oh, that's no way to have a conversation.
No, but it was a good point though, because
I was wishing we had microphones.
Because that's where the nuance is. It's like, right, there's nothing wrong with being gay, but there is something wrong with, doing something to a child with they don't even have the psychological consent to do what they're being asked of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it becomes down to morals.
What?
It comes down to the socially acceptable morals that, thank God, we have as a society.
But pedophilia is natural.
The feeling might be, but it's not natural for other humans to condone it being done to other. Which is why you go to jail.
That's not pedophilia.
Which is why you go to jail.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if you fucking fuck a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway.
But you know what I'm saying?
What are you saying? Go.
I'm saying that you're saying it's not natural for other human beings to condone
it being done to other
children.
And,
I'm
not put them
camp.
in jail.
I'm in that camp too. I don't think it's fair to touch children
and then just let it happen.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
but
right.
it is something that has existed as long as people have.
This is a good point, because I had this point.
No more points, really, Rhett. You said you were done with points.
No, I'm sorry. Go on.
But no, you go on.
The other good point is that it's only natural to want to throw pedophiles in jail.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's only natural for other humans
to
want to fix it.
Right.
See, because I was having this argument with another guy, and I think he was being a creep in the park, and I think he really wanted to be a pedophile.
Why were you in the park?
And I think he wanted selling edible, and I think he really wanted to rationalize being a pedophile. But I was like, well, guess what? It's only natural for me to put you in jail for being a fucking pedophile.
Well, there's nothing to rationalize. You either are or you aren't. I mean, what's complicated about it?
Well, I can agree with, obviously, people are having quote-unquote natural feelings for want to touch kids. But it's also natural for me to want to throw you in jail for touching a kid.
Yeah.
So, So that's why society corrects itself. It's natural to be fucking asshole. Well, it's natural to correct that fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So... But anyway, so what gave me this mind blowing when he gave that example of the woman's shoplifting.
The guy in the park?
No, sorry, that's a good point. The author of the book Crash, written in 1973, adapted.
It's a fucking great book.
Adapted by David Cronenberg in 1996. In the interview, the author gave this great example of how things change, where you used to villainize the shoplifter, but now we're kind of being empathetic.
Yeah.
Well, why the fuck did she have to shoplift? She has to feed kids. Her husband left her. Well, now the problem is the fucking sexism, leaving women destitute. So that's why you have the laws about alimony and all. See, somebody's an asshole. Society tries to correct the asshole with alimony, and so that's a good example. So now,
it is.
Back to my equation.
Yeah.
We're getting over religion and sex. So what do you have left? Capitalism and fear.
Oh.
Now, since we're over religion and sex, capitalism is using fear today because the internet fractured everything. So it's this ratings game, right? The old men with the original 3 channels, they have to now fight for their ratings.
Those channels are ass, mouth, pussy.
Yeah. ABC, NBC, and CBS.
Oh.
They used to not have to fear, quote unquote, pun intended, their ratings going elsewhere because there wasn't anything else to watch. So they used sex to sell things. But now the internet comes along. Oh, now all of a sudden, conveniently, coincidentally, a lot of people are getting over their sex shit, Me Too, all this kind of stuff. And so we're fixing that, but now we still need something to sell, to sell our capitalism. And now capitalism is using fear. So what do you think when you turn on your fucking cell phone and watch it every day? You think the fucking world's falling apart. Well, guess what? It's not. We are the most evolved. The present is always the most evolved. There's less to fear in the world than ever before. We only think it's falling apart because they need to sell shit and have a job.
Right.
So how do they sell shit to us? Fear. With fear. So they viralize the latest killing, which actually crime is down in general over history. Crime goes down, and there's less to fear. But you wouldn't think that looking at your fucking phone, because they need you to click on something. They need you to have an excuse to click on something.
But tell
the fearful
that,
thing
tell
in order
that,
to get ratings, in order to sell things.
Tell that to a black man. Tell that to a black woman.
That is a very good point.
Tell that.
And that's the nuance. Child. That is the very good nuanced argument.
Get alone with a black child.
That's a very good nuanced argument.
And then tell him that.
No, that's a very good nuanced argument, and that's where things are complicated. Obviously, race does not affect your behavior. You should not value your demographic. You should have no problem coming back in the next life as a black trans female, because being a black trans female, there's nothing wrong with. What's wrong with is the fucking hate that they get. The problem is the hate, not the demographic. So that's what fucking people should learn from fucking
This all came from Crash, all these stuff.
Well,
and weed.
Being on edibles during the pandemic, I think, is all this. But yeah, so I had this amazing idea when I was
read your book.
When I was watching the fucking interview, was that because capitalism is using fear now, and because these corporations are now like ruling the world, we as the commoners want to rebel against the power structure.
Right.
How do we do that?
Sex.
We don't care about if people are shoplifting from the fucking asshole rich king.
Right.
So we empathize with the shoplifter.
Oh.
And so we don't demonize it as much because it's a way to rebel.
Right.
So, I'll get to my punchline. Feeling sorry for shoplifters is a capitalist rebellion.
Right. I'm going to say one thing, and I want you to take this. I mean, listen to what I'm saying here.
Okay.
You said this thing be 20, 30 minutes. I want you to check right now on the timer. Check on the timer.
I know, it's been an hour now.
It's been an hour, Rhett. That's finally.
It took an hour for me to contextualize the amazing things I learned from this fucking movie.
Now, can you check if anyone listens to this all the way through?
Yes, I said about 10% of people listen to the whole thing.
I'm so curious if
based on the people who click on it.
If anyone will listen to this all the way through.
And
you got to tell me the numbers, Rhett.
At the beginning.
Congratulations, you.
And that's why I teased at the beginning, because I will be transparent about how I sell my things, because I don't fucking need fear to sell shit.
Oh.
I teased at the beginning that I was going to read part of a very short excerpt from the script.
Yes,
which is what we're going to do right now.
Woo!
So I'm going to just read this really quick. It's a corny intro, but okay.
Handwritten, by the way.
Sci-fi, the way it was meant to be. From what I know, science fiction of the past 100 years was thinking that it was trying to predict the future. Maybe it did. Hopefully it did not. We will not know until we get there. What I do know is that unless you have mysterious powers like Nostradamus, one cannot really predict the future, and even he was vague. Writers take the information we have in the present and past and project that extrapolation into an educated guess about various aspects of life. The chosen subjects mainly of technology, extraterrestrial life forms, and more wisely, politics. What amazes me, I have recently come to realize on cannabis edibles, or I just haven't read books, is that not very many writers try to guess how human behavior and social changes will evolve in the future. I know that given history has shown us that human socialness does evolve and change and ultimately get more positive. We free slaves, we hopefully murder less, we think more complexly, and we treat each other with more dignity, which I think was a great argument that you had about the whole we murder less. That was a good argument, but anyway, these are ideas a lot of writers have squandered in trying to extrapolate estimates about going forward in time. It is probably because it never crossed their minds to begin with, otherwise my faith in humanity, and would surely have had them do so. It could simply also be that I just have not explored enough books in my somewhat young life. I hope it is the latter. With this story, I hope to explore how humans will change their behavior and social habits.
Sorry to interrupt, but can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
I'm interested in this. What do you mean, these are ideas a lot of writers have squandered in trying to extrapolate estimates about going forward in time? What do you mean extrapolate estimates?
That's how they come up with a prediction of the future. They extrapolate something that's happening in the present. Because you can't really predict the future, right? Nobody could have predicted the atom bomb or whatever, right? And so, all we can do as quote-unquote science fiction writers is extrapolate what's in the present.
Right.
And then
apply
exaggerate
that.
it, and be like, "Oh, what if love was outlawed?" Right. Like in the
do people, and I don't mean to pull away from this, but do people extrapolate like from the past to predict, or not predict, but verify the present day? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure that tool's been used. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah.
So they extrapolate, and the estimates.
Extrapolate estimates. Yeah.
Got you.
Which
predict.
I mean, I don't know what it means because I'm just a pseudo-intellectual who hasn't read a lot. I should read more.
No, you read a ton.
I know. I watch a lot of movies, but the edibles really brought up
it's too many
analysis.
Edibles, right?
Well, no, I haven't done a lot of edibles, but for me, the 10 times I've done edibles is a fucking lot. Do you know what I mean?
The edibles did
It's kind of like with people and doing acid. They always talk about, you shouldn't do a lot of it.
You know what I found out this year that was so troubling?
Yeah.
Was I was looking through family photos and I found out that my dad used to extrapolate my mom.
That's hilarious.
You know, they would wear leather and they'd
that's funny.
Chains and.
That's a good pun. Yeah. She would fuck him with the strap on. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So is that true?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But you know what? He's very.
because your dad is a sub and your mom's a dom.
Yep.
Because sexuality is complicated and fluid.
Yep.
It's not anyway.
There's a lot of fluid.
After that stupid corny introduction I pretty much already went through and explaining, but anyway.
Let's read it.
Maxwell Spencer Grape Productions presents.
Sorry to keep interrupting.
It's okay.
You have to explain, what is Maxwell Spencer Grape? I love
that. That is my I was trying to be pretentious as a 20-year-old, trying to get poems picked to be in the New Yorker because I had high ambitions. And so I'm like, what? They're not going to and I'm so stupid. See, this is exactly like the dumb psychology of a dumb person. Is like, they're gonna pick the poem if it's good, not if your fucking name is pretentious. So I thought I'd have a better chance of getting picked if my name sounded pretentious.
Maxwell
so I came up with
Spencer Grape. That's a great fake name for you.
Yeah, because it's pretentious bullshit. So
you know what? It's well.
Anyway,
grape.
Yeah,
that's very you. It's perfect. It's very beautiful.
Yeah. Maxwell Spencer Grape Productions
MSG.
Presents, yeah. Which I love Madison Square Garden, and I'm glad MSG is no longer in soy sauce. Anyway, I don't know if that information is correct, whatever.
I think it's legal again.
I just hear things and
that was Chinese phobic. That what they did when they banned that shit was a culture war. It had nothing to do with health.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. See,
it's fucked up.
People's ulterior motives. They try to think.
Everybody
they make you
needs
believe they did it for the right reasons, but it wasn't. It was.
What the fuck?
Anyway,
that's fucked up.
Maxwell Spencer Grape Productions presents Everyone is Homosexual When They Pleasure Themselves. Scene 1. Exterior, futuristic schoolyard. A child is being bullied by other child. They finish fighting. No one else is around.
That will teach you to have thick, hairy legs.
You're an asshole. The children stop what seems like play acting. They compose themselves and start walking back to the school doors. Thank you for going harder on me today. This is going to do major improvements to my character and self-esteem for the rest of my life.
Yes, it is hard to believe what we learned in that lesson, that people used to fear this kind of thing sincerely and really meant to hurt people and for centuries avoided adolescent traumas. Not realizing it is precisely this pain that makes them successful adults. You wrote this?
Yes. Yes, it is great you are taking the time to invest in my future. I will repay you one day by giving you a job at my nonprofit. It's obvious I will have the tools to be the leader, and you will be my employee given you are the bully and their history of future low-bar complacency, right?
Anything I can do for the boss to kiss ass is good enough for me.
I like that attitude. We will need that kind of energy around. I mean, we're going to be running a cryptocurrency refugee center after all.
Right. It's going to be fascinating work. Thanks for the inspiration and encouragement, boss.
Absolutely. Now go out there and get 'em, Tiger. God, I love old Hollywood films. But anyway, listen, I'm afraid our buddy-buddy relationship will ultimately have a negative effect on this process. I'm not getting the full realized, totally effective negative experience when we have a positive conversation afterwards every time.
Yes, this is obvious. I think we are subconsciously buffering the real trauma that our ancestors developed in our DNA by being friends. We have to end the friendship for the benefit of our future.
Next time we fight, act more sincere and don't help me up and don't talk to me afterwards. Got it?
Of course, boss. Enemies until the day we start the charity. We have to. Our future success depends on it. You short, thick, hairy-legged, four-eyed, pizza-faced faggot.
And then child 2 winks and gives thumbs up approval. And then there's a montage. Scenes of the other men in a boardroom with graphs and charts and other colleagues. There's a voiceover. These 2 ambitious boys would grow up to be precisely the men their society gave them the tools to plan to become and become the 14th most successful cryptocurrency refugee center in the world with an annual revenue of just under $2 billion and rising. And then it's the opening credits.
You mean
and
the closing credits?
Well, to a big feature film.
Oh.
Then it's the opening credits and main titles.
Oh.
And then it goes more into the future psychology. The next scene is a family around a dinner table, which, you know, that's even limiting. Maybe in the future there won't be families around dinner tables anymore. I don't know. But again, science fiction is only an extrapolation of what's... See,
the character you were performing, I feel like was a sort of a masochist, like enjoyed getting his ass kicked.
See, that's how we view it from our primitive perspective, but really you could argue he's being an amazing strong successful grower because he knows the pain is what's going to make him grow. So that's a hilarious you said masochism, because masochism is like I used to always say it's like really recent I said this
but that's used to
I
You're
say that
extrapolating from the past.
I say that every decision we ever make is about our survival. Mm-hmm. But if you then have to do the counter argument, well, what about people who kill themselves or are masochistic? Well, to me, that's kind of like that whole Phoenix from the Ashes argument of like, we know as humans that we have to die to make room for the young to grow.
Right.
And our conservative old ways, it holds them back. Yeah. So us killing ourselves is also a way of growing. Yeah. Because it's leaving the future. Because after all, everything's connected. We, are egotistical in our individual bodies, but it's all about the overall human experience. Human race.
Race?
Or whatever, yeah.
Oh, I don't think this was a
I know,
race thing.
Race is a bad word, because do you know what I realized?
Uh-oh.
They think being a demographic, black or white, is a race. The white people think they won the quote-unquote race.
I disagree.
And I realize that the word race is racism, and our a lot of our language, there is negative bullshit baked into our language because it came from these stupid old men who were dumber. Like what I realized, an amazing epiphany that I think is great to end this podcast with.
Yes.
That I had on edibles.
Oh.
Is because I had a 4-hour conversation with a philosophy major. He knew everything about the philosophers from ancient Greece. Mm-hmm. So I asked him, because I assumed the ancient philosophers had amazing ideas about race, and I thought that they were evolved on race. Guess what?
They were all
They
white.
were fucking racist.
They were white.
And do you know why? You know?
Because wait, yes, I do.
Oh yes.
What was the question?
Why are the philosophers from ancient Greece racist?
Because they were
all fucking Greece, Greek.
Yeah.
Well, also, they didn't give credit to where credit is due. A lot of the ancient...
they had slaves from Africa. They used to... Or they had North
but
African.
I'm talking about their ideas.
Oh.
Their ideas came from the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, the Chinese.
But they just reappropriated it for themselves. But are they going to fucking credit the brown people? No, because they're brown.
Oh.
They don't get... See, that's the amazing thing is these are fucking philosophers. They were smart. But do they get... that fucking skin color is like eye color? It doesn't fucking matter. Yeah. It doesn't affect your behavior.
The only thing that matters is nostril size.
It doesn't make you better or greater.
Yeah.
There's amazing and shitty people in every demographic. It's not about the demographic. The problem is the hate.
I say we end this podcast. I think that's
a great thing.
Let's end this podcast naming 5 bad Africans. I can name one.
Well, guess what? There's 5 bad...
Idi Amin, you do one.
O.J. Simpson.
That's great. I'm gonna do another one.
Well, but the thing is if you
Elon Musk.
You know, people will just argue, well, if you concentrate on that, it's, you know, confirmation bias, cherry picked information, and in a broader context, you'll realize there's shitty and amazing people in every demographic. It's not about the demographics.
All right, let's not do Africans anymore.
Well, no, but also, well, I said demographics. You're the one saying Africans. But anyway.
That's a demographic, no?
No, I know, but it's, again, cherry-picking information.
Oh.
You gotta, like,
all right,
talk about the general ideas. But no, it's a funny joke, whatever. Hopefully people get it.
People will get it. People will love it.
I think so.
I don't think, I mean, and you have to promise me to tell me how many people make it this far.
Exactly.
If you can really tell, the technology will let you see.
Yes, the analytics on YouTube tells you everything. That's why I know that roughly 10% of the people who click on it, so there's 70,000 views total.
That's a rough 10%.
The rough 10% is about 7,000 people got it to the end. In general, over
maybe they died.
All the episodes added up, which mostly it's the Beyond Valley of the Dolls episode was 58,000, and then adding up the other
who'd you do that
mini
with?
Viral one, Greg Suarez. Yeah,
you did it with Greg Suarez.
Yeah, because I overanalyzed that movie because I was on edibles also.
Rhett.
And I got great ideas.
I'm telling you what Greg didn't have the courage to tell you, because I am a friend of yours.
Oh, okay.
You have an edibles problem. Every story is about how you were overdosing on edibles.
Well, that's because that's where all my great ideas came from.
No,
a few
I
times
disagree.
I've done edibles.
Your great ideas, I think, come from your anger.
Oh.
And that's the...
See?
That's what to end
anger
on.
is a negative thing that made me grow and come up with these great ideas. That's a perfect example of how we should embrace the pain because we know it makes us grow.
Yeah.
And we should not be avoiding and anesthetizing pain, which is what we do in current society.
Will you let me anesthetize this podcast? I want to hit the end button. Let me do it.
Yes. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.